Welcome to Lookouts and Waterfalls in the Blue Mountains, episode 19, Let Our Videos Be Your Guide. In this episode, we drive back to Leura Glen via Coulton to visit 4 more lookouts along Prince Henry Cliff Walk. Hello and welcome. We're standing at the start of a short 50-metre track that will take us to Prince Henry Cliff Walk and on to Burrabarroo Lookout on a short side track of about 250 metres. Then we'll follow Prince Henry Cliff Walk to an unknown lookout that I now know is Lomandra Lookout. After that, we'll walk on to Banksia Lookout after crossing Banksia Streamlet. And finally, we'll reach Honeymoon Point and its lookout. We'll see all this shortly, but first, here are the roads we took to get to the start of the walking track.
We followed the M4 motorway from Sydney onto the Great Western Highway and will again take the left exit into Coulton, 46 kilometres from the bridge over the Nepean River. This turn you'll see several more times in future episodes on the numerous scenic attractions around Coulton. If your vehicle has a trip meter, set it to 0 as you exit the highway. At 120 metres at the roundabout, turn left onto Bathurst Road. Again, proceed straight if you wish to avoid Coulton's main street. At 280 metres, turn right around a second roundabout into Coulton Street. After 850 metres, turn left at the roundabout into Boroburu Street. At 1 kilometre, turn right into Leura Street. At 1.2 kilometres, turn left into Boroburu Street. Continue along Boroburu Street until you reach Cliff Drive at 1.7 kilometres. Turn right into Cliff Drive, Carrington Avenue or in Boroburu Street and find a spot to park along the side of the road.
Enough said, let's start by walking down this short track to Prince Henry Cliff Walk.
Now that sounds like my sort of walk. Let's go. Our first stop is Burrabarroo Lookout, located on a projecting rocky spur at the end of a 90-metre sidetrack off the Prince Henry Cliff Walk. Boroburu is an Aboriginal name for very large stones, or a big fella stone. The name was suggested by William Farris Blakely from the Botanical Gardens in Sydney and approved by the Blue Mountains Shire Council as part of the opening of the first section of the Prince Henry Cliff Walk on the 20th of October 1934 by Mr. Eric Sidney Spooner, Minister for Local Government in New South Wales.
Okay, so that's the way we would have come if we had have come from Jamison Lookout. But we are going to go on in a southerly direction along Prince Henry Cliff Walk. Ah, look, a little bit of down. This is Prince Henry Cliff Walk, where it continues. We'll take this short side track to Boroburu, whose sign has been mutilated. It doesn't look like a natural occurrence. 80 metres it says. Nice seat to sit on for the people. And some rock cut steps. Before its official naming, this lookout was locally known by another name. The mountains are often a private possession, and this rock formation was dubbed Old Man's Point. To this day, all in stone can be seen, an old man's rolled up blankets, his kitchen, his bath, his bed, his daughter's room, and his own room left vacant. For he was a widower, and his daughter kept house for him, but one day she went out for a walk and fell over a precipice. He went to look for her and never came back. Now that we are let into this secret, and can view these memorials every day, Old Man's Point has been caught by an arm of the Prince Henry Cliff Walk, and given an official name, Burrabarroo Lookout. But there are those to whom it will be Old Man's Point forever. Very hilly, uphill and down dale. There's a bit of a drop there. Lots of trees, but not tall enough to diminish our view. Nice blue of the eucalyptus.
Lomandra Lookout is next, so it's back to Prince Henry Cliff Walk, a left turn and a short 230 metre walk from there.
Okay, we're back at the turn off. We'll take the shortcut. Back onto Prince Henry Cliff Walk. There's the sign. And we continue. All those ferns. Lots of ferns. Lomandra Lookout is a fence lookout located on a smooth rock shelf on the main track. There are no sweeping distant views here, but a close-up view of the canopy of the surrounding bush. This lookout gets its name from the numerous reed-like plants Lomandra longifolia, growing in the area and so named by Keith Rowland Painter, after he observed them there in October of 1994. Mr. Painter is an author and publisher, writer and researcher of bushwalking, guidebooks and local history books. A bench seat has been provided, making it a nice place for a rest. So that's why it got its name. And thanks for taking up all the lookout with you. I wonder how long these bags will stay here till they rot. I've been unable to find any previous names for this lookout, so it is likely this location was merely a part of the Prince Henry Cliff Walk that came close to the cliff edge. Let's continue. What goes down must go back up. I guess they're going to put rail along here. Don't hold your breath. Nice bit of a view there. Very small but viewable.
Banksia Lookout is another small lookout on a 15 metre sidetrack off this cliff walk. Like Lomandra Lookout, it was named by Keith Rowland Painter in 1994 after Banksia Park, which is directly above this lookout. The views from this lookout, as the previous, are obscured by tree cover. A small wooden bridge we will shortly pass over crosses Banksia Streamlet.
Another nice little seat to sit at, just to absorb the ambience. Since I cannot find any early name for this lookout, or the previous lookout, my assertion is that in 1934, when the Prince Henry Cliff Walk was opened, both were similarly merely parts of the walking track. To support this, I'll read from an article in the Katoomba Daily from October of 1934 titled Along Prince Henry Cliff Walk. It describes this walk, but in the opposite direction to us. On the left is another lookout, Millamurra, a massive rounded rock similar in shape to an ancient fort. A sudden bend in the walk reveals a very deep, narrow fern and shrub-filled gorge. This track now enters Banksia Park, and a park leads up the bank on the left to the bus route on Echo Point Road. This road is now Cliff Drive. There was probably a view here once. There's no view now. The scenic beauty of the walk continues, and one gets a close-up view of the large sandstone escarpment with its narrow bands of ironstone markings. The next object of interest is the sunken fernery, which drops suddenly below the walk at a gully head, and is almost circular, girt with dripping rocks clad with mosses, ferns, coral reeds and spider flowers. A long flight of wooden steps, set in the hillside on the left, leads to Carrington Avenue, and a track on the right leads to Burrabarroo Lookout. So as you've heard, there was no mention of any lookouts between Millamurra Lookout and Boroburu Lookout on Prince Henry Cliff Walk in 1934. A little waterfall, little cascadey thing on Banksia Streamlet. Looks down into the valley, but you can hear the water, but you can't see it. It also has a sign that says Banksia Lookout. Looks like people tried to souvenir bits of it, or maybe some animals. And the view, my friends, is staggering. Now if this giant tree wasn't here, that's about as good as it gets. One big tree in the way, and another little valley down here that drops off into nowhere land.
Well, I guess that's it for this walk. But, hang on, Graham. You said we were visiting 4 lookouts today.
I did. There is one more point of interest that had not been discovered in 1934 when the Prince Henry Cliff Walk was opened, and that is Honeymoon Point, our last destination for today. Honeymoon Point is a 2-tiered lookout located between here and Honeymoon Lookout. From the Prince Henry Cliff Walk, 17 steps lead down to this small rock platform and the lookout, which overlooks the Jamison Valley. The now Honeymoon Lookout was originally named Honeymoon Point, and this point has now taken that name. There's the Honeymoon Point sign. Whee! Bit of a view all its own into Fern Bower. And then going down to the lower deck, some original wooden ladder here. To a flat rock. And again, an amazing view down. There's the old Leura filter beds.
Yep.
Going back up, I'll show you the original wooden ladder. Look at that. Rustic as it is.
Rustic. Ooh.
I carry a handheld GPS now, so I'll include the map in our credits. We visited 4 places today: Burrabarroo Lookout, Lomandra Lookout, Banksia Lookout and Honeymoon Point. You can do all that in one day, but take your time and enjoy the outdoors, the fresh air, the sunshine, the wonderful vistas, but most of all, stay safe by familiarising yourself with our safety instructions at the end of this episode.
In our next episode, we drive back to visit 4 lookouts over Leura Forest and Jemison Valley. Until then, bye.
Bye. Thanks for watching. Whatever way you discover the Blue Mountains, we want you to have a safe and enjoyable experience. Whether you drive, catch public transport, or cycle to the destinations we visit here, some walking is necessary. The walks are usually short, but can contrast greatly, so you need to be aware of the risks. Have a safe and enjoyable sightseeing experience at these lookouts and waterfalls. Don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell to be alerted when next we visit the Blue Mountains.